Hello pattern lovers, you're welcome and welcome back. It's yet another exciting tutorial, and in today's video we'll be drafting this beautiful fit and flare dress. It's a dress with cone details and a built up neckline, armhole princess darts, and a cap sleeve. So if you're interested in learning how to go about the pattern drafting of this dress that fits, then watch this video to the end. So right here on my pattern paper, I have my shoulder line, and you're going to leave a space of about 3 inches before your shoulder line. Then I have the bust point line, the under bust line, and then the waist line. Now coming to the shoulder line, I'm going to mark the shoulder measurement divided by 2. Then I'll be going down to my chest line, and on the chest line again, I'm going to mark the shoulder measurement and mark it out with my ruler this way. Next, I'll be doing 3 inches as my neck width, and then I'll be coming down here to 1.5 for the shoulder slope and slant the shoulder just like this. The next thing I'll be doing now is to go ahead and get the bust band. I'll mark it on the waistline and also on the bust point line. That's your nipple to nipple divided by 2, and then I'm going to just connect it like this. Next, I'm going to get the bust measurement divided by 4 on the chest line plus ½ inch. Then I'm going to go up here to 3 inches. Then on that point, I'll be going into ½ inch. Now I'm going to just cover the armhole just like this. Next, I'm going to start from this shoulder slope and come down to where I want the princess dart to be, and I came down 4 inches. Now I'm going to place my curve like this and just get it from that 4 inches to the bust band, and it's already coming together. For the dart intake, I'll be doing 0.75 on both sides on the waistline, and then I'm going to repeat the same thing on the under bust. And the reason is that this is not a full bustier dress. We are just going for some extent contouring, so it's not a full bustier. Whatever you use as your dart intake on the waistline, just go ahead and extend it to the under bust. Then you're going to curve from the under bust to the bust point on both sides, just as you can see me do it here. This way you're tightening the under bust a bit. Now I'm going to come out here by ½ inch. Then I'm going to measure this armhole princess seam line here, and then I'm going to just make sure that whatever it is I measured there, it's also the same thing that I will mark on this ½ inch I came out earlier. Do you understand that? And then I'm going to place my curve again like this and recurve the princess seam line, and of course curve out the armhole from that point. Now I'm going to get the waist measurement divided by 4 on the waistline plus the 1.5 that intake, and then I'm going to connect from the waist measurement to the bust measurement. Then I'll be coming down here from the bust point line on this side by 2 inches, because that's the difference between my front length and then the back length. Now for the neckline, I already have the neck width of 3 inches. I'll be coming down here to 7 inches because that's how low I want it to be. You can do from 5 inches depending on how low you want your neckline to be. Then I'm going to get the angle 45 from my neck width like this. Once I have it, I'm going to use my ruler to just extend the line this way. Then on this line, I'll be going up to 2.5. That's how high the built up neckline is supposed to be. So from here, I went up 2.5 on this line, exactly 2.5 here. Then what I'm going to do now is to measure what I have here from that 2.5 to the center point, and then mark the same thing on the shoulder line like this. Do you understand? Then I'm going to just use that as a guide to get the neckline curve just like this. It's pretty much simple. And once that is done, this is what it's looking like. And I'm going to blend in the shoulders seam line. Yeah, you're going to make sure that your ruler is touching from the neck width to the shoulder tip just like this. Make sure it's not too straight and make sure it's not too deep, so that you don't set yourself up for fitting issues. And after doing that, I had to clean up the initial one, and this is now the shoulder slope, and then the shoulder line, and then the neckline. Now we are pretty much done with the front pattern, or do you have any question? No. Now for the back, I have the center back, and from that point I'm going to get the shoulder measurement divided by 2 on the shoulder line. Then I'll be going down to the chest line and mark the shoulder measurement again on that point. Now I'm going to use my ruler to mark it out like we did for the front pattern. Next, I'm going to mark the 3 inches I'm using as the neck width, and I'll be coming down here to 1 inch for the shoulder slope. For the front pattern, we did 1.5 for the shoulder slope. Now for the back, I did 1 inch. Next, to contour the center back, I'll be coming in here to 0.75, and I'm going to place my ruler like this and get it all the way to the shoulder line like this. Just so we are on the same page, the back length is 2 inches shorter, which is just the exact 2 inches I use as the bust dart. Measuring from the shoulder, you see that I have 16 as the front length and then 14 as the back length. To take the bust measurement, I'm going to start from the center back contour line and take the bust measurement divided by 4 minus half on the chest line. Then I'll come to the waistline and take the waist measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch dart intake. I'll be doing the dart later. Okay, so I added 1 inch dart allowance to the waist measurement. Then I'm going to get the midpoint of this line, and once I have it, I'm going to curve the armhole using that as a guide to get the perfect armhole curve like this. The next thing I'll be doing now is to go ahead and get the angle 45 from the neck width. I'm going to just get it like this, and once I have it, I'm going to extend the line this way to indicate it, and once I have it, I'm going to go up on that line from my neck width 2.5 like we did for the front pattern. Now I'm going to measure from here to here, and whatever it is I measure there, now I'm going to mark it on the center back line just like this, just so I can have a straight line for the neck line. And once you have the line like this, you can decide to go down to 0.25, 0.375, or zero point 0.5 if you just don't want to leave the neckline straight like that, but it's also fine if you can leave it like that. Now I'm going to blend in the shoulder line like we did for the front pattern, and if you can, just make sure you place your ruler the exact way you placed it to blend in the shoulder line of the front pattern. And that's one of the things you can do with your cutting rulers. The numbers there are not for fancy. Always make use of them to have for that accuracy. You just have to make use of the numbers there. I don't know if you know how to do that, but that has been saving my life a whole lot. Saves you time and gives you the perfect result without you stressing. I mean, it makes your pattern consistent. So because of trust issue, I had to remeasure back shoulder line and then the front shoulder line, and of course I did a great job. Now I'll start from the center back contour line and take the bust span, then I'll go up 6 inches as the dart length, then measure from the center back to the bust span I have on the waistline. Whatever it is I have there, I had to mark it on the dart length just so I can have a straight line this way to take in my darts. Now on both sides of this line, I'm going to mark 0.5, which is the same 1 inch I added as the dart allowance to the waist measurement. Then I'm going to just connect from the ½ inch I have on both sides to the dart length this way. Then I'm going to follow this center back contour line and add my zipper allowance of 1 inch. Whatever zipper allowance you're comfortable working with, you're going to follow your center back contour line and add it, and of course extend the neckline to that. Now we are going to cut, because that's pretty much about it for this upper part. I will be cutting the back pattern first, and this is just how I'm going to do that. After cutting the back pattern, you don't have to cut the dart, just notch it. Even after transferring to the fabric, notch the two dart legs so that it will be easy for you to sew. Then for the front, you open up the waist dart all the way to the bust point line, then you close the bust dart and blend in the side seam line, and of course you go ahead and cut the rest of the pattern out like this. And after cutting your pattern out, always go ahead and cross check. You know, we usually do that on this channel. So once there is excess anywhere, go ahead and take it out, or if you need to replace on the shortage part, go ahead and do that before transferring to the fabric. Now for the down part, I already created a space for the front and then the basket, but yeah, that would be a total waste of time, even though yeah, it will still serve, but you can just use the front to get the back. So what I have here, the starting point of the paper will serve as the waistline. Then I went down to my hip line, and then you're going to start from the waistline again and go down to the skirt length, like your gown length, or better still, minus your half length to get the full length. And once you have all of that, you're going to mark your waist measurement divided by 4 on the waistline, then on the hip line, the hip measurement divided by 4, and then whatever it is you have on the hip line, you're going to take it all the way to the skirt length, and yeah, you're going to connect it just like this. That's pretty much about it for this part. Now I'm going to cut it out, then we go ahead and do the next step. Now, I'm going to start from the waistline and go down to where I want this dress to flare, and I'll be doing 3 inches because my hip is not big. I'll be doing just 3 inches because that would give me the perfect fit. And once I have it, I'm now going to measure this line now. Whatever it is I have there, I'm going to divide it to how many bridges I want to have or how many cones you want. You know, there are bridges and then there is that bridge? And then there are the cones. There's a space before the cone. I don't know if that makes sense, but you're going to measure this part now and then you're going to divide it to how many lines that you want to have. I did this 5, yeah, 5 intervals, and the center one is shorter than the others because the center you're going to cut that unfold, so it's going to be half of all the spaces that you created. Whatever it is now, whatever space you have now on that line, you're going to take it all the way to the skirt length. Pretty simple. Just take your time. This is time consuming, I know, but if you have a long ruler which has numbers and lines, it will be easier for you. But I have just this short one and I'm going to make use of it. So you're going to have something like this and then you're going to take it all the way down and you have something like this. Now, once that is done, you're going to leave the center one and then you come to this next one, get the midpoint, then you leave the next step, go to the other one and get the midpoint. Do you understand that? Now, these are the ones we are working with, just 3 of these. And then on this one that I said we are working with, you will now come down 1.5. Okay. On this line, 1.5, then on this other next line, 1.5, then you leave, go to the other one I said you're working with, and you repeat the same thing. Just go down 1.5 on both sides like this, and once that is done, you're now going to use that 1.5 as a guide to curve, to give it that cone shape. Do you understand? So you're going to curve from that 1.5 to the midpoint, then you curve from the midpoint to the other 1.5. This is just so you have a smooth consistent on both side, and yeah, they are aligning. Once you're done with this first one, you're going to move to the second one. You're curving from the 1.5 to the midpoint, then from the midpoint to the other 1.5, and then you go over to this side and you repeat the same thing. So this side that kind of made a mistake. Yeah, because what this means is that you're going to have 2 cones. In fact, your side seam is going to be joining one this cone on the front to the other cone on the back. If that is how you want it, then just go ahead and do it like I did it here. If not, there's a way you do it that you just have one cone which would go from the front to the back, and it will cover the side seam and you won't have any side seam joining. Is that any side seam? Okay, so these are the ones you are cutting out. You're going to indicate that in case you feel like you will make a mistake. And that's pretty much about it. Before cutting, you would have to measure the length from this cone. That will be the length of your cone too. So you're going to measure from this line here all the way to your skirt length, and know that you'll be adding at least 1 inch to the length you measured there now. And with that being said, I'm going to cut it out. I will just be cutting out the part I indicated that I will cut out. That's where the cones will be going to. And right after doing that, this is what it's looking like. And by the time you cut your skirt on fold, you will see that these 3 spaces you're seeing here will be needing 6 cones in total. Okay, now to cut the cone, let's say this is your fabric or your pattern, you're going to just fold it in a triangular form this way. You don't have to fold it all the way to the other end, of like for it to meet the other side. Just fold it as much as you need or how wide you want your cone to be. And once that is done, you're going to bring in your skirt and use it to carve out this shape here. This part is very important. Okay, you're going to carve it out like this. And remember, we already said you'll be adding extra 1 inch to the length of this cone, like what you measured on the skirt. While cutting out this cone, you'll be adding 1 inch to it, and that should be for the stitching allowance. That would be half inch down, half inch up. I don't know if you understand. Then you're going to measure from that point to that same length you measured on the skirt plus 1 inch, and then you now measure from this pointy part to that point again. Whatever it is you have there now as the length, you're going to just measure it all around. Do you get? Just so you have that round shape, because if you try to measure it from the cone shape, you are likely not to have that round shape that you need. And once you're done, you're going to measure around the hem to be sure that you're comfortable with the wideness. For more accuracy, you can decide to just go ahead and fold it like this, and then you measure on the length to see that the wideness you have here, that you're comfortable with it. And remember that this is two. After cutting this out now, it's going to be two cones, and yeah, it's not one. So the wideness you measured will be just for one, and you won't say that this is unfold that you open it up. Once you're sure of your pattern and after cutting it out, you're going to slash it here, and now you have two cones, meaning that you need extra four for the front and then extra 6 for the back. So it's going to be 12 cones in total, and it's going to be like this. Remember I said the 1 inch you added will serve as the allowance, because once it's added to the length, that extra that added to the length will be what you use to join it to the skirt. But yeah, like I already said, you will be needing 6 for the front and then 6 for the back. And I said there's a way you do it that is going to be 10. Yeah, you won't have to have joining on the side, like joining one cone to the other one on the side. It's going to be just one, getting from the front to the back. I don't know if you understand, but yeah, for what we have here now, you will need 12 of these cones, and then you're going to use your skirt to cut out for the back. Even though you won't be doing the zipper contour if you're using the front to cut out for the basket. That's the only disadvantage. But yeah, go ahead and use that. It will save you time. And then you're cutting the front skirt on fold, and then we have the center front which you're cutting on fold, or you cut two times of times two of that if you want opening on the center point. Then we have the side front which you're cutting two of that, and then the back pattern which you're cutting two of that. And then you're going to cut your cap sleeve, and that's pretty much about it for this particular pattern. I hope you found it very helpful. If you did, let me know in the comments, and if you have any questions, drop them in the comments and I'll respond to you. I'll be seeing you in my next one. Bye bye.